The emergency alarms screamed through the halls of Nexus Prime. Red lights flashed on every wall and ceiling of the massive space station that served as the home of the Galactic Council. In the great meeting chamber, 12 different alien species sat around a circular table that could have fit a small city inside it. Kim Tae-ho looked around at the panicking aliens and took another sip of his coffee. The human ambassador was much younger than most of the other representatives. While the others towered over him with their strange bodies made of crystal, gas, or metal, he sat calmly in his simple black suit. His thermal mug had a small Earth flag sticker on it. Admiral Yoon Hae-jin slammed 6 of his tentacles on the table. The Krillian was nearly 3 meters tall, and his skin changed colors when he got angry. Right now, it was flashing bright red. The Void Hunters have returned. Yoon Hae-jin shouted. Our entire fleet barely escaped their first attack. They drained the energy from 3 of our ships in seconds. The crews are still alive, but the ships are just floating metal now. Chancellor Park Ji-woo made a sound like breaking glass. The silicate being was made entirely of living crystal that rang like bells when she moved. This is impossible. The Void Hunters have been extinct for over 2 million years. Every school child learns about them in history class. Well, they are not extinct anymore, said Senator Lee Dabin. The gaseous alien from the Nebula Collective had no solid body. She spoke through a translation device that made her voice sound like wind through caves. My scouts report at least 50 of their ships moving toward the core systems. They are draining energy from every star they pass. Tae-ho pulled out his tablet and scrolled through some files while the aliens continued to panic. The device looked like something a human student might use for homework. Nothing fancy or high-tech compared to the floating holograms and crystal computers the other species used. Commander Park Jin-woo waved his dozen arms in the air. The Tentacle Federation representative looked like a giant octopus wearing a military uniform. My scientists say the Void Hunters can drain the energy from an entire star system in less than a day. If they reach the populated systems, billions will die. We must evacuate immediately, Park Ji-woo said. Her crystal body was now glowing with fear. We should take our people to the outer rim galaxies. Perhaps we can hide there until they move on. Hide? Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's colors flashed to purple with anger. The Krillian Empire does not hide from anyone, but we also cannot fight them. Our weapons have no effect on their ships. Lee Dobbin's gaseous form swirled faster. Maybe we should try to communicate with them. Perhaps they will accept tribute instead of destroying everything. They do not communicate, said Ambassador Choi Min-ho. The ethereal being was made of pure energy and looked like a floating ball of light. The historical records are clear. The Void Hunters consume energy. That is all they do. They do not negotiate. They do not take prisoners. They just drain everything and move on. Tae-ho looked up from his tablet. Actually, they do have some interesting behavioral patterns. Did you know they avoid certain types of electromagnetic frequencies? Also, they have a natural predator that went extinct right after they did. The chamber fell silent. All the alien representatives turned to look at the human ambassador. He seemed completely calm while everyone else was in full panic mode. What did you just say? Admiral Yoon Hae-jin asked. Oh, just some facts about Void Hunters. Pretty standard stuff. Tae-ho took another sip of his coffee. We have quite a bit of data on them, actually. Chancellor Park Ji-woo made a sound like a crystal wind chime in a storm. Data? They have been extinct for millions of years. What data could you possibly have? Tae-ho shrugged. Well, when we first joined the Galactic Council 5 years ago, we read through all the historical archives. Really fascinating stuff. Lots of extinct species that used to be major threats. So we started preparing for the possibility that some of them might come back. Preparing? Commander Park Jin-woo's tentacles stopped waving. What do you mean, preparing? You know, just basic contingency planning. We have files on most of the major extinct threats. The Void Hunters are filed under Ancient Cosmic Threats, subcategory, Energy Vampires. Pretty straightforward, really. Senator Lee Dabin's gaseous form stopped swirling completely. You have contingency plans for extinct species? Of course. I mean, extinction does not always mean gone forever, right? Look at what just happened. Besides, it is just good planning. You always prepare for the worst-case scenario. Ambassador Choi Min-ho flickered brighter. But the Void Hunters were destroyed over 2 million years ago. The probability of their return was essentially zero. Tae-ho pulled up a file on his tablet. Actually, our xenoarchaeologists put the probability at about 12%. See? They found evidence that some Void Hunter ships might have been in deep hibernation in the void between galaxies. Dr. Choi Eun-seo wrote a whole paper about it 3 years ago. 3 years ago? Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's colors shifted to a confused blue-green. You have been expecting this for 3 years? Well, expecting is a strong word. We were just prepared for the possibility. That is what humans do. We prepare for things. Chancellor Park Ji-woo's crystal body was now glowing so bright it hurt to look at her directly. What exactly have you prepared? Tae-ho scrolled through his tablet some more. Let me see. We reverse-engineered their energy-drain technology, created counter-frequency generators, bred synthetic versions of their natural predators, developed energy-dampening fields, and set up a few other things. Oh, and we have about 50 ships, specifically designed to fight them. The silence in the chamber was so complete that the only sound was the distant hum of the space station's engines. Every alien representative stared at the human ambassador like he had just told them the sky was purple. 50 ships? Commander Park Jin-woo whispered. Designed specifically to fight Void Hunters? Senator Lee Da-bin asked. With reverse-engineered. Void Hunter technology? Admiral Yoon Hae-jin added. Tae-ho nodded. Plus the countermeasures, the synthetic predators, and a few other surprises. We like to be thorough. Ambassador Choi Min-ho flickered rapidly. Why did you never mention any of this before? Nobody asked. Besides, we were not sure if the other species would approve of us militarizing extinct technologies and creating synthetic life forms. Some beings get nervous about that sort of thing. Chancellor Park Ji-woo made a sound like a crystal cathedral, collapsing. You have been secretly preparing to fight threats that have been extinct for millions of years? Not secretly. We filed all the proper research permits. It is all in the public records if anyone wanted to look. Tae-ho finished his coffee and checked his watch. Actually, our fleet should be arriving in about 20 minutes. I called them when the alarm started. The alien representatives sat in stunned silence as the realization hit them. While they had spent centuries treating ancient threats as interesting history lessons, the humans had treated them as homework assignments. Captain O-Minki stood up so fast that his chair fell over. The Zephyrian Navy officer was tall and thin like all his people, with silver skin that reflected the chamber's lights. His voice came out as a high whistle that the translators turned into words. What do you mean you have been preparing? Show us these files. Tae-ho turned his tablet around so the others could see the screen. The device looked simple compared to the advanced holographic displays the other species used, but the file list was very long. The aliens leaned forward to read the names. Plan Omega-7, Galactic Tyrant returns. Admiral Yoon Hae-jin read out, loud. His tentacles were now a pale yellow color that meant confusion. Scenario 847. Reality-eating parasites, Chancellor Park Ji-woo added. Her crystal body made soft ringing sounds as she tried to process what she was seeing. Protocol Phoenix. Universal heat death reversal, Senator Lee Da-bin whispered. Her gaseous form had become very still. Commander Park Jin-woo pointed one of his tentacles at the screen. There are hundreds of files here. How long have you been making these plans? Tae-ho scrolled down the list. We started about 6 months after we joined the Galactic Council. Dr. Choi Eun-seo spent the first few months just reading through the historical archives. She made a list of every major threat that had ever existed in the galaxy. Then we started working on solutions. Solutions? Ambassador Choi Min-ho flickered brighter. These are extinct threats. Some of them ended billions of years ago. Right. But extinction is not always permanent. Look at the Void Hunters. They were supposed to be gone forever, but here they are. Tae-ho opened another file. Dr. Choi found ruins of Void Hunter ships on 17 different dead worlds. She spent 2 years studying their technology. Captain Oh Min-ki's silver skin was now reflecting so much light that it was hard to look at him. You studied forbidden technology? The Void Hunter devices were sealed away for good reason. Sealed away, not destroyed. That seemed like poor planning to us. If something is dangerous, you should understand it completely. Otherwise, how can you defend against it when it comes back? Chancellor Park Ji-woo made a sound like breaking bells. But the energy required to reverse engineer such technology would be enormous. How did you power such research? Tae-ho pulled up another file. Engineer Shin Bo-ra built a testing facility on the dark side of Luna. Earth's moon, I mean. She has been running experiments there for about 4 years now. The facility can generate the same type of energy fields that Void Hunter ships use. 4 years? Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's colors shifted to deep purple. You have been secretly building Void Hunter weapons for 4 years? Not weapons exactly, more like tools to understand how their technology works. Once we figured that out, building countermeasures was pretty straightforward. Engineer Shin has been mass-producing counter-frequency generators since last Tuesday. Senator Lee Dabin's gaseous form started swirling again. Last Tuesday? You mean 6 days ago? Well, we finished the design work months ago. But last Tuesday was when our deep space monitoring stations detected energy signatures that matched Void Hunter technology. So we started full production immediately. Commander Park Jin-woo waved all his tentacles at once. You have deep space monitoring stations? Where? Tae-ho looked at his tablet. About 400 scattered around the galaxy. Nothing too obvious. Most of them look like asteroid mining operations or research outposts. Dr. Yang Hyejin designed them to watch for. Signs of ancient technology activation. 400 secret monitoring stations, Ambassador Choi Min-ho said. His energy form was now pulsing rapidly. What else have you not told us? It is not secret. We filed all the proper permits with the Galactic Mining Commission and the Research Council. Everything is completely legal. Tae-ho scrolled through more files. Oh, and we brought back the Lumina wasps. The chamber fell silent again. This time, the silence was so complete that even the space station's background hum seemed to stop. Chancellor Park Ji-woo was the first to speak. Her voice came out as barely a whisper. The Lumina wasps went extinct 2 million years ago, the same time as the Void Hunters. Right. That seemed like too much of a coincidence to us. So Dr. Choi studied both species and found out that the Lumina wasps were natural predators of the Void Hunters. They fed on the same type of cosmic energy. Captain Oh Min-ki's silver skin had gone completely dull. You brought back an extinct species? Dr. Bayek Soo-jin found genetic samples in some very old ice on a dead world in the neutral zone. It took her team 3 years to decode the DNA and figure out how to grow them. The first successful batch hatched about 6 months ago. Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's tentacles were now moving very slowly. You have been breeding extinct predators for 6 months? They are not really dangerous to other species. Lumina wasps only eat cosmic energy that has been processed by Void Hunter technology. To them, normal starlight tastes terrible. But Void Hunter energy is like honey to them. Senator Lee Dabin stopped swirling completely. How many did you breed? Tae-ho checked another file. About 50,000 so far. They reproduce pretty quickly once you get them started. Dr. Bank has facilities on 12 different moons now. Commander Park Jin-woo made a sound like choking. 50,000 extinct predators? Actually, they are not extinct anymore since we brought them back. so I guess they are just rare now. Taeho looked up from his tablet. The Void Hunters probably will not be expecting them. According to our research, the Lumina wasps were the main reason the Void Hunters went into hibernation in the first place. Ambassador Choi Min-ho was flickering so rapidly now that he looked like a strobe light. You studied why the Void Hunters went extinct? Of course. If you want to fight something, you need to understand what defeated it before. The historical records were not complete, but Dr. Choi found enough evidence to figure it out. The Void. Hunters were not destroyed by other species. They were eaten by the Lumina wasps. Chancellor Park Ji-woo's crystal body was now glowing so bright that the other aliens had to look away. So your plan is to release extinct predators on the Void Hunters? That is just part of it. We also have the counter-frequency generators to stop them from draining energy, specialized ships designed to fight them, and a few other surprises. Taeho finished scrolling through his files. Oh, and we mapped all their old hibernation sites. Years ago. You knew where they were sleeping? Captain Oh Min-ki asked. We had a pretty good idea. Dr. Choi's team found evidence of Void Hunter hibernation technology in the deep void regions. We have been monitoring those areas for about 3 years now. Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's colors had shifted to a pale gray. That meant shock. You have been watching them sleep? Not watching exactly. More like keeping track of energy signatures that might indicate they were waking up. When the readings changed last week, we started activating our contingency plans. The alien representatives sat in stunned silence as they realized what had happened. While they saw ancient galactic history as interesting stories about the past, humans had seen it as a user manual for future problems. The emergency alarm stopped screaming, but red warning lights still flashed across every screen in the chamber. A new voice came over the communication system, speaking in clear human English that the translators quickly converted for the other species. Nexus Prime Control, this is Admiral Lim So-young of the Human Defense Fleet. We are dropping out of hyperspace in 30 seconds. Please clear docking bays 7 through 15 for our ships. Taeho looked up from his tablet. Oh, good. They made better time than I expected. Captain Oh Min-ki pressed his face against the massive viewing window that showed space around the station. His silver skin was reflecting the red warning lights, making him look like a living mirror. I see. But those ships look so ordinary. The human fleet was approaching Nexus Prime. 50 ships of various sizes moved in perfect formation. They looked simple compared to the elegant crystal ships of the Silicate Confederation or the flowing organic designs of the Krillian Empire. The human vessels were mostly gray metal with basic geometric shapes. They are not much to look at, Admiral Yoon Hae-jin said. His tentacles were still that confused yellow color. Are you sure these can fight the Void Hunters? Taeho smiled. Looks can be deceiving. These ships were designed by General Kim Woo-jin and his team specifically for this type of threat. Everything about them is built around fighting energy-draining enemies. A new communication channel opened, and the voice of Admiral Lim So-young filled the chamber. She sounded calm and professional, like someone reporting routine patrol information rather than preparing for a battle against an ancient, cosmic threat. Ambassador Taeho, this is Admiral Lim. All 50 ships are ready for deployment. The Lumina Wasp carriers are in position, and the counter-frequency network is online across 12 star systems. Colonel Lee Hyun-ji reports that all ground-based generators are operational. Excellent work, Admiral. How are our special guests doing? The Wasps are excited. Dr. Baek Soo-jin says they can sense Void Hunter energy from here. They are practically vibrating in their containment fields. Chancellor Park Ji-woo made a sound like wind chimes in a hurricane. The Wasps can sense them? From this distance? Taeho nodded. Lumina Wasps have incredible sensitivity to processed cosmic energy. They can detect Void Hunter technology from several light years away. It is like how sharks can smell blood in water. Commander Park Jin-woo waved his tentacles nervously. But what if the Wasps attack the wrong targets? What if they decide our ships look tasty, too? They will not. Dr. Bayek spent 2 years studying their behavioral patterns. Lumina wasps only eat energy that has been processed through Void Hunter biotechnology. Our ships use completely different energy systems. A new voice joined the communication channel. This is Chief Engineer Nam Ji-ho on the ship Prometheus. All vessels are reporting green lights on their counter-frequency systems. We are ready to create dead zones on your command. Senator Lee Dabin swirled faster. Dead zones? Areas where energy cannot be drained, Tejo explained. The counter-frequency generators create a field that blocks Void Hunter technology. Inside these zones, they cannot feed on starlight or ship power. It makes them much easier to fight. Another voice came through the speakers. Ambassador, this is Dr. Baek Soo-jin on the carrier vessel Sanctuary. The first wave of Lumina wasps is ready for release. They are very eager to get started. How many are you releasing? Ambassador Choi Min-ho asked. His energy form was pulsing rapidly. About 10,000 for the first wave. We want to see how the Void Hunters react before. We release the main swarm. Captain Oh Min-ki turned away from the viewing window. His silver skin was now reflecting so many different colors that he looked like a living rainbow. 10,000 in the first wave? How many do you have total? Dr. Baek brought about 30,000 with her. The rest are still at the breeding facilities, but we can call them if needed. Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's colors shifted to deep blue. You brought 30,000 extinct predators to our space station? They are not actually at the station. The breeding ships are about 50,000 kilometers away. Safety protocols, you understand. A new alarm started sounding, different from the emergency alert. This one was deeper and more urgent. Captain Oh Min-ki rushed back to the viewing window. The Void Hunters! I can see them! Everyone in the chamber moved to the windows. In the distance, dark shapes were emerging from hyperspace. The Void Hunter ships looked like they were made of living shadow. They absorbed light instead of reflecting it, making them appear as holes cut out of space itself. 37 ships, Admiral Lim So-young reported over the communication system. They are moving toward the station in attack formation. Energy. Drain fields are active. Tejo opened another file on his tablet. That matches our projections. Dr. Choi predicted they would send a medium-sized hunting pack to test our defenses. Test our defenses? Chancellor Park Ji-woo's crystal body was now glowing so bright it was painful to look at. They want to drain our energy. Right, but they do not know we can stop them. This will probably confuse them quite a bit. Colonel Lee Hyun-ji's voice came through the speakers. Counter-frequency network is activating now, creating dead zones around Nexus Prime and all human ships. The space around the station began to shimmer like heat waves rising from hot pavement. The effect spread outward in a sphere that covered several thousand kilometers. Dead zone established, Chief Engineer Nam Ji-ho reported. All Void Hunter drain fields have been neutralized in our area. The Void Hunter ships suddenly stopped moving. For several seconds, they just floated in space like they were confused. They are trying to drain energy from the station, Admiral Lim So-young said. But nothing is happening. Their feeding systems are not working. Commander Park Jin-woo pressed against the window. They look lost. They have probably never encountered anything like this before, Tejo said. For 2 million years, they could drain energy from anything they wanted. Now suddenly they cannot. Dr. Baek Soo-jin's voice crackled through the speakers with barely contained excitement. The wasps are going crazy. They can sense all that Void Hunter energy, but the ships are not draining anything, so the energy is just sitting there unused. It is like a feast that no one is eating. Release the first wave, Tejo said. With pleasure. From the human carrier ships, streams of light began pouring out. The Lumina wasps looked like living stars, each one about the size of a human fist, but glowing with brilliant white energy. They moved through space like schools of luminous fish, flowing in perfect formation toward the Void Hunter fleet. Beautiful, Senator Lee Dobbin whispered. Her gaseous form had stopped swirling completely. The Void Hunter ships tried to turn away, but the wasps were much faster. They swarmed over the dark vessels like glowing clouds. Where they touched the Void Hunter hulls, bright flashes of light erupted. The wasps are feeding, Dr. Beck Soo-jin reported with obvious joy in her voice. They are draining the stored energy right out of the Void Hunter ships. This is exactly what we hoped would happen. Several Void Hunter vessels went completely dark as the wasps drained their power systems. The ships began drifting helplessly in space. Now comes the interesting part, Admiral Lim So-young said. All ships, activate Protocol Prometheus. Show them what happens when humans get serious about a problem. The human ships began to change. What looked like simple gray metal vessels started unfolding like mechanical flowers. Hidden panels slid open to reveal weapons that glowed with the same energy as the Lumina wasps. The basic geometric shapes transformed into complex arrays of energy projectors and field generators. Protocol Prometheus is active, Fleet Admiral Park Soo-jin announced over the communication channel. All ships are switching to combat configuration. Captain Oh Min-ki pressed his face against the viewing window again. His silver skin was now reflecting colors that did not exist in any known spectrum. Those ships are completely different now. What kind of technology is this? Tae-ho looked up from his tablet. Adaptive hull systems. Each ship can reconfigure itself for different types of threats. Dr. Choi designed them after studying how the ancient Lumina wasps used to hunt in packs. The transformed human ships moved toward the Void Hunter fleet with perfect coordination. They fired beams of pure white energy that looked exactly like concentrated starlight. When the beams hit the Void Hunter ships, the dark vessels began to glow from the inside. We are overloading their energy processing systems, Admiral Lim So-young explained. Instead of letting them drain energy, we are forcing them to absorb more than they can handle. Chancellor Park Ji-woo made a sound like a crystal cathedral, singing. You are feeding them to death? More or less. Void Hunter biology is designed to process cosmic energy slowly and efficiently. But if you pump too much energy into them too fast, their systems overload and shut down. Several Void Hunter ships began spinning out of control as their internal systems failed. The Lumina wasps swarmed around them, feeding on the excess energy that leaked from their damaged hulls. But then something changed. The remaining Void Hunter ships began to pulse with a different kind of darkness. The space around them started to bend and twist like heat waves, but cold instead of hot. Commander Park Jin-woo's tentacles went rigid with fear. What are they doing now? A new voice came over the communication system. This one was different from the human voices they had been hearing. It sounded like the echo of a scream from the bottom of a deep well. We are the hunger that devours. Light. We have slept in the void between stars. Now we wake to feed on all energy in this galaxy. Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's colors shifted to white, which meant terror in Krillian body language. That is their primal Drain Lord, the leader of their hunting pack. The largest Void Hunter ship began to grow. It stretched and expanded like a living shadow until it was 3 times its original size. Energy began flowing toward it from every direction, including the light from distant stars. It is activating the cosmic drain, Senator Lee Dobbin whispered. Her gaseous form was contracting with fear. The ultimate Void Hunter weapon. It can drain energy from entire star systems. The stars around Nexus Prime began to dim. The station's power systems flickered as energy was pulled away by the massive Void Hunter device. Emergency lights came on throughout the chamber. This is not good, Ambassador Choi Min-ho said. His energy form was now barely visible. If they drain the local stars, everyone in this system will die. But Tae-ho just opened another file on his tablet. He looked as calm as someone checking the weather forecast. Actually, we expected this might happen. Dr. Yang Hyejin wrote a paper about primal drain lords 3 years ago. She theorized they would have something like the cosmic drain as a last resort weapon. Captain Oh Min-ki turned away from the window. His silver skin was now so dull it looked gray. You expected this too? Of course. If you are going to prepare for void hunters, you have to prepare for their most powerful abilities. That is just basic planning. A new voice joined the communication channel. This is Captain Seo Junho on the deep space vessel Aurora. Stellar restoration teams are moving into position. We have visual confirmation on the cosmic drain device. Stellar. Restoration teams? Chancellor Park Ji-woo asked. Teams that restore stars, Taeho explained. We developed the technology about 8 years ago after studying how some species used to repair damaged suns in the ancient past. Another voice came through the speakers. This is Engineer Kang Min-seo on the command ship Horizon. The Galactic grid is responding to the energy drain. All hidden collectors are activating automatically. Commander Park Jin-woo waved his tentacles frantically. What is the Galactic grid? Taeho scrolled through his tablet. Oh, that is probably our biggest project. We have been building it for about 4 years now. Every human colony, every trade, route, every research station has been part of a massive energy collection and redistribution network. The alien representatives stared at him in complete silence. You see, we realized that if something like the cosmic drain ever activated, we would need a way to replace drained energy faster than it could be consumed. So we built a backup energy system for the entire galaxy. Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's colors were now cycling through every shade of confusion his species could display. A backup energy system for the galaxy? It was actually Dr. Yang Hyejin's idea. She pointed out that the Void Hunters went extinct because they eventually ran out of energy sources to drain. So if we could create an infinite supply of energy, they would never be able to consume everything. Captain Seo Junho's voice crackled with excitement. Stellar seeds are ready for deployment. We can replace any drained stars within minutes of energy loss. Senator Lee Dabin stopped contracting and began to expand again. You can replace stars? Artificial star cores. They burn synthetic fuel that we manufacture from converted matter. Captain Seo's ships carry about 100 of them. Engineer Kang Min-seo's voice came through clearly. Galactic grid is at full power. We are collecting energy from over 10,000 hidden sources across the galaxy. The Void Hunters cannot drain faster than we can replace. The space around Nexus Prime began to glow as energy flowed back into the system. The dimmed stars grew bright again, and the station's power systems returned to normal. How is this possible? Ambassador Choi Min-ho asked. His energy form was now brighter than it had been before the attack started. We spent 4 years secretly installing energy collectors on asteroids, moons, and space debris throughout the galaxy. Most of them look like mining equipment or research tools. The network can channel energy from any source to any location almost instantly. Commander Yu Da-yun's voice joined the communication channel. Energy conduit ships are transforming. Now. All vessels are linking to the galactic grid. We are channeling enough power to overload every Void Hunter ship in the sector. The human ships began to glow like small suns. Energy flowed between them in brilliant streams of light that connected each vessel to the next. The entire fleet became a single massive energy weapon. The primal drain lord is trying to drain energy from our entire galaxy, Taeho explained. But we are feeding it more energy than it can possibly handle. Dr. Yang called this plan aggressive hospitality. We are going to feed them until they explode. The largest Void Hunter ship began to shake as too much energy flowed into its systems. Cracks of light appeared along its dark hull. Sometimes the best way to fight something that wants to eat everything, Taeho said with a smile, is to give it more than it can swallow. The largest Void Hunter ship began to crack like an egg made of darkness. Lines of brilliant white light spread across its hull as too much energy flowed through systems designed to drain, not to be force-fed. The primal Drain Lord's voice came through the communication channels again, but this time it sounded confused and angry instead of threatening. "What is this light? We cannot consume so much. We cannot stop the flow." Admiral Kim Jae-won's voice came over the human communication system. She sounded like someone giving a routine status report. "All ships report successful grid connection. We are channeling energy from 6,000 different sources directly into the Void Hunter fleet. Their biological systems are beginning to overload." The Lumina wasps were having the time of their lives. The small energy beings swarmed around the overloading Void Hunter ships, feeding on the massive amounts of leaked energy. They glowed brighter and brighter until they looked like tiny stars dancing through space. "The wasps are getting stronger," Dr. Baek Soo-jin reported with obvious delight. "All this excess energy is like a perfect meal for them. They are reproducing as they feed. I count at least 15,000 now." Captain Oh Min-ki watched from the viewing window as more Void Hunter ships began to break apart. His silver skin was reflecting so many different colors that he looked like a living prism. "They are destroying themselves. How is this possible?" Tae-ho put down his tablet and picked up his coffee mug, which had somehow stayed full during the entire battle. Void Hunter biology evolved to drain energy slowly and store it efficiently. But they never developed defenses against energy overload because nothing in their natural environment ever tried to force-feed them. Chancellor Park Ji-woo's crystal body was now ringing like church bells. "So you weaponized hospitality?" Dr. Yang called it the all-you-can-eat strategy. "If something wants to consume everything, give it more than everything and see what happens." Captain Lee Young-suk's voice crackled through the speakers. "This is Squadron Leader on the ship Defiance. The smaller Void Hunter ships are beginning to retreat. They seem to have learned that approaching our fleet is a bad idea." "Let them go," Admiral Lim So-young said. "We are not here to destroy them all. We just want them to understand that this galaxy is not available for consumption." The primal Drainlord ship gave one final pulse of darkness before it began to collapse in on itself. The massive vessel folded like a house of cards, getting smaller and smaller until it was just a tiny point of light that quickly faded away. "The Drainlord has retreated into hyperspace," Engineer Kang Min-seo reported. "The remaining ships are following. All Void Hunter energy signatures are leaving the system." Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's tentacles had finally stopped changing colors. They were now a steady blue that meant amazement. "They are running away?" "They are not running. They are learning," Tae-ho explained. "Void Hunters are actually quite intelligent. They just experienced something completely outside their understanding. They need time to process what happened." Commander Park Jin-woo waved. One tentacle toward the viewing window where the last Void Hunter ships were disappearing into hyperspace. "Will they come back?" "Probably not to this part of the galaxy. They have learned that the energy here fights back. They will look for easier targets somewhere else." Senator Lee Da-bin swirled slowly. "What if they attack other galaxies?" Tae-ho opened another file on his tablet. "We have been in contact with several other galactic communities for about 2 years now. They have copies of all our research and technology. The Andromeda Council finished building their own galactic grid last month." The alien representatives sat in stunned silence for several minutes. Outside the viewing windows, the human ships were transforming back into their simple configurations. The Lumina wasps were returning to their carrier vessels, glowing contentedly after their feast. Ambassador Choi Min-ho was the first to speak. His energy form was pulsing very slowly. "How many other extinct threats have you prepared for?" Tae-ho scrolled through his tablet. "Let me see. We have active contingency plans for about 300 major threats and monitoring systems for another 800 minor ones. Dr. Choi's department keeps finding new things to worry about." "Active contingency plans," Captain Oh Min-ki repeated. "Does that mean you have weapons and countermeasures ready for 300 different extinct species?" "Weapons, countermeasures, containment protocols, communication systems, and restoration technologies. We like to be thorough. Chancellor Park Ji-woo made a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. What about threats that have not been discovered yet? Oh, those are covered under our unknown threat protocols. We have about 50 different response systems designed to handle completely new types of dangers. Dr. Im Soo-bin runs that department. Commander Park Jin-woo's tentacles were now waving very slowly. You have a department for threats that do not exist yet? They might exist. We just have not found them yet. The universe is a big place with lots of history we have not discovered. Better to be prepared for anything than to be surprised by something. Admiral Lim So-young's voice came through the communication system one more time. All ships are secure and ready for return to base. The Lumina Wasps are happy and well-fed. Mission accomplished. Thank you, Admiral. Please give my compliments to all the crews. They did excellent work. Senator Lee Dabin swirled faster. You talk about fighting an ancient cosmic threat like it was a training exercise. Well, we have been preparing for this specific scenario for over 4 years. By the time it actually happened, we knew exactly what to do. The hard part was the research and development. The actual battle was just following the plan. Tae-ho finished his coffee and stood up from his chair. I should probably file a mission report with the Galactic Council. Do you have any forms I need to fill out for successfully repelling ancient extinction-level threat? Chancellor Park Ji-woo's crystal body was now glowing with a steady, warm light. We do not have forms for that because no one has ever done it before. Oh, well, I suppose we will make our own forms then. We like to keep proper records of everything. Captain Oh Min-ki turned away from the viewing window. His silver skin was now reflecting a soft, steady light. What will you do now? Tae-ho pulled up another file on his tablet. Dr. Yang has been working on some interesting theories about the heat death of the universe. She thinks it might be preventable with the right technology. We should probably start preparing for that, the Baeksus. Heat death of the universe? Ambassador Choi Min-ho flickered rapidly. That will not happen for billions of years. Right, which gives us plenty of time to work on it. Dr. Yang thinks we can have a working prototype in about 50 years. Admiral Yoon Hae-jin's colors shifted to a very pale green. You are already planning to prevent the end of the universe? Planning is a strong word. We are still in the early research phase. But Dr. Im Soo-bin has some fascinating ideas about what might come after heat death, so we want to be ready for that too. Tae-ho closed his tablet and picked up his empty coffee mug. Well, this has been fun, but I should get back to work. We have a meeting tomorrow about preparing for the possibility that parallel universe versions of ourselves might not be as friendly as we are. As the human ambassador walked toward the exit, the alien representatives sat in their chairs and tried to process what they had just experienced. They had watched humans treat the return of an ancient galactic threat like a minor scheduling problem, solve it with technologies they had built just in case, and then immediately start planning for the end of the universe itself. Commander Park Jin-woo was the first to speak after Tae-ho left the chamber. I think we need to start reading human research papers more carefully.